Have you considered using virtual assistants in your business but just not sure where to start or how it even works? I'm Adam Hooley and welcome to part 4 of my 7-part series on implementing virtual assistants into your business. In this part, we're going to go through industry tools used when you're outsourcing team members. So talking about the tools that we'd use to help document and communicate with your offshore team members to make sure that the efficiency with your offshore team members is available to you. So what we're going to do is we're going to have a look at our standard tools that your staff members will use. So obviously any cloud-based tools that you have are going to work much more efficiently. Saying that, if you're still using old server-based software, we can set up a VPN and we can have your team remote into that software. Cloud-based obviously is best. Outside of trust accounting softwares, most other softwares are cloud-based anyway, so that's not a particular issue. But what we're going to do is we're going to walk through our property management trust software, other industry software, video conferencing tools and online chat tools, and of course task management tools. So we're going to kind of walk through all those quickly today. So one of the first things is your trust software. So particularly if you're in property management, you're probably going to want your VAs to have access to your trust software. Now that's no problems at all. Now again, if you're using some older server-based softwares, we can organize for remote access for your team members to VPN. If you're using cloud-based software, obviously that's fantastic. That's much more easy to access. But again, we can set up your virtual team members with a login and then train them or assist you to train them in using the various parts of those software tools that you need them to use. So then we have industry tools. So if you're using tenant booking systems or using maintenance systems or you're using other things that are outside core property management like MailChimp and CRMs and Excel and Google Docs and all that sort of stuff, then your VAs can use all those tools just as efficiently as your existing staff members do. Now we can use, we will probably be required to do some training on those, so what we encourage you to do is document some training, and we go through that in the next part, in part 5 of this series. We talk about the best way to document your training for your virtual assistants. So just an understanding that software is easy to upskill and train your team members on, particularly anything that's cloud-based. A lot of the team members, again, if you were recruiting specific roles here, so particularly if you're looking for sales and marketing roles and things like that, a lot of VAs here have previous experience in a lot of these particular software tools, so there's very little upskilling that needs to be done. The other one is using tools to conference with your team. So one of the things you do want to do is you want to give your team FaceTime. You don't want to offshore your team and then forget about them and just hope the mechanics is working. You do want to spend as much time with your offshore team as you can. And what we encourage you to do is to do that through a series of video conferencing calls. Now there are many video conferencing apps out there. We've got Skype and Google Hangouts, Rocket Chat, Zoom, Appearing. They're all there. We find Skype and Google Hangouts are probably 2 of the most common, probably followed by Zoom. But again, they're easy to do. You can get online with your team members and you can chat about what they're doing each day, making sure they're up to date with their work and things like that. Also, your team appreciate it when you give them some face time. It adds a lot more value to them in their role. Chatting online is a particular one, so you're probably used to having your team members inside your office. It is actually becoming more and more common for office to introduce chat features to their internal team, and that's around collaboration so that everyone can see what's going on in the business. But when you extend to your offshore team, it's really important you have some sort of chat tool so that your VA team is available to you when you need them, or you're available to your VA team when you need them. And that obviously saves costs on picking up the phone and ringing each other. But taking on to the cultural aspect of chat these days, that's what everything's done by chat. And many businesses that I work with today, I'm not doing so much email with them, I'm doing a lot of online chat with these businesses. Also, we've got some task management tools which I wanted to quickly show you today because it's really, really important. We've talked about this in a couple of other series outside of this particular series, in other series of outsourcing, how it's very important to document your tasks correctly for your virtual assistants. Now, one of the things that I find with employing virtual assistants, it allows businesses that probably haven't documented their tasks as well as they should to now formally document them so that they can hand them off to their virtual assistant. So it actually becomes quite a neat exercise for your onshore team to actually sit down and start documenting their processes. What I put on the screen here is a couple of examples of software programs that people use. So Monday.com and Jira and Trello, Asana, Google Sheets, Lean Kit. These are all things, programs that you can use to document your systems and procedures so that your offshore team know exactly the steps they need to follow. And what I find with many businesses, they get so wrapped up in creating all these processes for their VA team that they go on and create them for their onshore team as well, which is fantastic. I can do nothing more than endorse that type of process. So let's have a quick review. This was only a short one for you just to step through these tools, and a lot of you are probably familiar with a lot of these tools, but what I did want to kind of endorse for you is that your VAs or your offshore team members are no different to your team. They'll be using exactly the same tools you are. Some of those tools they will have previous experience in, some of those tools you'll need to train them. Okay, so it's very important that you understand these tools are readily available to your team members. So we talked about your trust software, we talked about other industry software like tenant booking systems, CRM, maintenance software and things like that. Video conferencing tools so you communicate with your team, online chat tools so you can communicate with your team, and of course documenting things into a task management tool. That also helps you understand how they're managing their workflow, how much work they've got on as well. So that's it for part 4 of the next generation virtual assistants. Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel so you can receive all the other parts to this particular series. I'm Adam Hooley. Talk again soon.